Yo, what's up guys, it's the MMA Analyst here to give you my predictions for the Ultimate Fighter 14 finale. Probably going to be a short one, nice little free card. Also just found out what the whole card was, on Thursday, so, blah, 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 blah. But, yeah, let's go right down to it. Michael Bisping versus Jason Miller. It's only a certain time. Only when the fights actually happen do you really realize, I really can't stand this dude. And, you think you don't want somebody to win. All through the season I'm watching this, man, Michael Bisping, really, he stood his ground. I thought Miller was going to be able to clown him, etc., etc. But, Bisping was, the thing about it was he was, over the top, though. So, he didn't allow, really, Miller to ever get the best of him, but it was because he was always a douche. You know what I mean? You can't prank a complete douchebag because they just you know what I mean? It was just, I don't know, it's TV too, right? So, maybe he's not really like this, you know what I mean? But, he did spit at dude after he, kicked him in the balls, spit at his corner, talking about Jorge Rivera, so that wasn't fake. I think he's just a big douche. Anyways, Michael Bisping versus Jason Mayhem Miller. I really want Bisping to lose this, really bad. Especially if Jason can submit him and blah, 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 blah. But, really when it comes down to it, what's going to most likely happen, Bisping's going to be on his horse, running away, avoiding takedowns pretty well. And when I say running, I don't mean it negatively. I mean just avoiding the takedowns, stuffing takedowns most likely. Miller's good once he's on the ground, but is he really going to get the fight to the ground by taking him down? I don't know about that. The other thing about Michael Bisping is a lot of people talk about, they say underrated ground game and all this other stuff. Bisping really does have an underrated ground game. Now, I'm not saying he can go be on his back against some of the best grapplers in the world. But, against Miller and I think a lot of other guys, even if Bisping is put on his back, his guard is active enough and his ability to get back to his feet is strong enough that I don't think the fight stays there. I actually don't think Miller can just kind of hold Bisping down, let alone advance from, maybe guard to half guard to side control to go for a submission. I really don't see that happening. I hope it does, because that's the only way Miller can win this fight is to get the fight to the ground and either control him or submit him. But I don't think either of those things are going to happen. I think at the end of the day, you're going to have Bisping, jabbing, moving, sticking him moving, tippy-toeing, pitter-patting, all over the cage, and end up winning. And then, maybe at the end of the fight, you got to give respect, I think, to people. Don't like to because they're haters, but it's kind of weird. I'm not really a Bisping hater. I don't like what Bisping does, and I can kind of parallel that to he's never been a champion, and the only time he ever fought a top 10 middleweight, it was the biggest knockout of the year and one of the most epic knockouts of all time. But if you talk about somebody like Anderson Silva, where you're I don't like his attitude, but the reality is he's dope. And when the fight's done, he's not spitting on people. I don't care what happened with Jorge Rivera and Michael Bisping and how angry he was. Jorge Rivera didn't do half of what Chael Sonnen does to Anderson Silva or other many various beefs. When the fight's done, Anderson's on his knees, no homo, respectful to Chael Sonnen. It is what it is, and it's just like that in every fight with most people, and it's not like that with Michael Bisping. So I think that's really a character thing with him. But that's all whatever, right? It's my prediction video, so if I want to talk about somebody like that, I can do what I want, right? I'm not telling you who to bet on right now. I'm just saying who I think. Who I think and what I think, right? Anyways, next fight. Diego Brandao versus Dennis Bermudez. Really, like, let's be realistic here. Bermudez got dropped a bunch of times in his other fight in Ultimate Fighter House. And, I mean, if he gets dropped in this fight, first of all, if he could get caught in that fight, he can probably get caught in this fight. And if he's going to get dropped in that fight, nice recovery. That's not going down. Diego, I'm not going to be on this bandwagon like he's the next superstar at featherweight. He could be. I just need him to fight some people that aren't guys in the tough house to first say that. But let me say that he is on his way to potentially impressing a lot of people. But obviously there's a lot of, tough wrestlers out there. I mean, I'm talking like he already won, but really, he probably already did. I'm going to pick Diego Brandao first round knockout. TJ Dillashaw versus John Dodson. I'm going to go with John Dodson here. TJ Dillashaw, I mean, he's decent, right? But I think Dodson is just he's kind of like exactly like Demetrius Johnson in a way. Short, fast hands, explosive, pretty good all around, decent on the feet. And I don't think that Dillashaw is really going to be able to do anything with that. So, I think Dodson can win this fight, and I think he will. Yves Edwards versus Tony Ferguson. Going to go with Tony Ferguson. I think that, I wasn't really too sure of exactly what to think of Ferguson going into his fight with Aaron Riley, but after what I saw happen in that fight, his hands, knocking out Ramsey in the gym again, right? I'm not going to say the Ultimate Fighter 13, whatever. Oh, he's Ultimate. All right, let's see how he does against somebody who's got a couple fights. Aaron Riley, tough guy, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Broke his jaw, beat him up. Just very good hands, pretty good wrestling. Yves Edwards, tough fighter. I mean, he's very well-rounded. 41 wins, 15 knockouts, 17 submissions. He's fought like the best of the best. He's fought all over the world. He's done his thing. But I don't think at this point in his career, he's going to be able to take care of Tony Ferguson. Yves Edwards, to win this fight, probably needs to get the fight to the ground. It's not like his hands aren't good, but he probably needs to get the fight to the ground. I see Ferguson kind of just going at a breakneck speed and being able to win that fight. And Johnny Bedford versus Luis Gaudino. I don't know. I'm just going to go with Johnny Bedford for this one. I mean, it was a really good season of The Ultimate Fighter. I'm not really going to get into this. I'm just going to kind of treat it like an undercard fight because it kind of is. So, Johnny Bedford. On the undercard, I've got Brian Caraway over Dustin Neese. I have Stephen Bass over Marcus Brimage. Dustin Page, right? Over John Albert. And Josh Ferguson over Roland Delorme. And I have Clopton over Siler. I think that's it. So that's it. The undercard fights, that's probably not going to be on Ultimate Fighter, or on Facebook or anything like that. Let's just call it that, right? So, we got some UFC, free UFC on TV. I'm good for that, And then we get right back on the serious tip, December 10th next week with UFC 140. I'm going to get that video done like probably tomorrow, which is Saturday, which is December 3rd. If not, definitely December 4th. There you go. There's my video. MMA. It's important. Peace.